Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Brittany Simon. We do philosophy through pop culture, and in today's video we are reviewing Love is Blind Season 2 Episode 4. The couples have now matched and they are heading to their vacation spot. Let's see what happens.
Oh wow.
Oh no! When we were in the pause, Javin got me some flowers. It's a nice little reminder of why I'm here and why I picked him.
It's nice to know you kept it for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
He's just such a kid, you know what I mean? Like he feels young. He feels like a boy. He feels like one of my brothers, you know what I mean? Anyways, this place is beautiful. Oh my God. Like their vacation spot is gorgeous in Cyprus. Beautiful.
The sexual tension is definitely rising. I'm buzzing to share a bed with Megan. Get me in there.
I fancy the pants off Ashley. She's 1 in a million and the one I've been looking for.
We've gone from just hearing your voice to now actually being in person here.
Okay, I'm going to start making predictions on the couples. Let me make notes so I can hold myself accountable if I get it wrong. Okay, so there's 5 couples. Billy and Ashley, I'm gonna say, are they gonna be a yes or a no? My intuition is telling me no, and I don't know why yet, but something is telling me no. Javin and Katisha, I'm gonna say no. Jed and Barda, I'm gonna say yes. Kieran and Megan, I'm gonna say no. And Sarover and Cal, I'm gonna say yes. So I'm saying 3 no's and 2 yeses, which is about a pretty good ratio for Love is Blind. So that's my theory. Cal and Sorover might not get married because of family issues, but family issues aside, I actually think they might be very compatible depending on his level of, depending obviously on the nuances. I think no matter what, Jed and Barda are definitely getting married. They're my like for sure yes. Ooh, maybe the rest are all no. No. I'm gonna keep it here. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. This is my final answer. I'm gonna keep it here, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
There is such a physical connection vibe with Cal. Like seeing those biceps, yeah. And then seeing his abs actually, I am loving it.
This is just so surreal, and I'm glad I'm sat here with you.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's literally gorgeous.
Because it feels really good.
Yeah, it feels easy. Tell you who I want to see.
Good.
Because controversial one, actually done my boy dirty.
Your boy?
One of my boys.
Which boy?
Okay. So he wants to see Katisha because she did Damala dirty. And now this will be the great contention because I wondered this when I was making my list of who will say yes or no. I was going to say this out loud, but now, see how my intuition, depending on how misogynistic Cal is, I wonder if it will get in the way of Sarover respecting him. Because again, Jim Bro from Dubai or Jim Bro associated with Dubai makes me think, but then at the same time, I agree with him that Damala was done dirty, but also I disagree with the idea that Katisha is a bad guy because at the end of the day, like, she was right to reject him. So is this his misogyny feeding his hate for Katisha, or at least his sexism? Or is this actually, what is this for? So let's see.
With Mona, she kept her cards close to her chest to protect herself, which
Why did she not narrow it down to one?
I think
you don't even get married to one person.
But I think she was really torn. Emotionally, I genuinely believe she was really torn. And I guess on the boys' side, it's hard to know what's happening because you only hear one side, and obviously I only know her side.
We need clarity.
We'll see what happens.
God, that wasn't us though.
No.
Interesting. Okay. We'll see.
I'm so glad it wasn't. Honestly, you are definitely what I imagined, but actually better, which is surprising. I didn't think it could be.
So nice.
I would definitely say you're my usual type. Gym board, a pretty boy. But you've been better than any type I've had.
I've always been with white British girls before. Blonde hair, light eyes. Obviously, it's never worked. Yeah, I'm glad you wasn't my type.
I know Ashley and Bud are both blonde. They're white girls as well, and obviously I'm the complete opposite. But he was open with me about that. I think I need to go with the flow with Cal and just trust the process with him.
I mean, no matter how much we like it, colorism plays a role in all of our communities. It stems from so much evil and bigotry in the world. And you have to fight it within yourself, feeling good enough about how you present in the world. And then, people have to deconstruct it from their own dating pool and who they usually, quote, go for and don't go for. I tend to date within proximity. So like whoever's around me, basically, and whoever I'm vibing with. But some people go out of their way to date like blonde haired, blue eyed people. And I think that a lot of that comes from lack of deconstructed, like internal or a lack of deconstructed racism or colonization. So obviously there's a big part of that that's at play here. But I hope Sarover doesn't feel less than. And I'm sure the other girls wouldn't want her to feel less than, right? But you also can't fight the way that the world has shaped you and made you feel less than because you don't present in the most feminine way or the most, white way, however you want to phrase it. So, the question I would pose for Cal is, do you have a type that's white and blonde for a reason? And have you deconstructed that reason? Is it just proximity, like who's around you? Or is it actually like a preference towards whiteness? Because that could be an issue.
It's true though, they are actually both exactly his type, aren't they?
What did you think of me in the pods?
You just intrigued me because you're just so articulate.
Okay.
You're a bit too cool for school sometimes.
I never dated anyone with a Scottish accent, so engaged doesn't quite feel real. I feel like she's my girlfriend. Over time, the significance of her being my fiancée is going to feel more real.
I mean, that's true. It doesn't quite feel real enough for him yet, but why would it? Right? It just happened. And he said she does feel like my girlfriend, which is important. Yeah, I don't see them working out, but I'm curious on how he handles the whole situation. I wonder if he feels genuinely like he has to grow up a little bit, you know, just as an older sister who has a lot of little brothers. Okay, I have 6 little brothers. You know what I mean? They're not men yet. Well, maybe most of them aren't men, but like most of them are still relatively young, you know? There's like you're not like a grown person yet. And to be fair, I mean, I wouldn't even consider myself like that grown in comparison to my parents, but I would say that I'm more adult than the energy that Javin is like emoting.
I don't feel like I could just say I love her. I definitely feel like we're planting the seeds to potentially fall in love.
Okay, so, and they both talked about this beforehand, that they weren't sure there was like love there yet in that way. And I think she said the same thing with Damala, right? If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Maybe he felt differently towards the end where he was going to propose. But I believe this was the unit that this wouldn't be a surprise to her to hear him say this, I think.
What an experience, man.
I know.
How'd you feel?
Good. I just feel chilled.
Yeah. Did you have like any apprehension in terms?
I feel like he's digging for her to say something, but I don't know what it is. I think he's looking for reassurance, maybe. Something about, or maybe it's just hitting him how serious it is.
Was there anything you was worried about?
As soon as I seen you, I just felt so relaxed. So yeah, it was nice. Yeah. You?
The time so far has been fun, so
Yeah, it's been fun.
yeah, I'm looking forward to spending more time with you.
Yeah, it feels like he wants to say something, but he was hoping she would say it and then she didn't say it. And so he didn't feel like he wanted to say, like, she feels secure right now, but he's feeling anxious and I could be reading into it.
I just feel very comfortable around Javin, and I guess it was like a rocky journey to get here, but in the back of my mind, I always knew that we were going to be here.
I just realized everyone is saying everyone's names differently. Javin, like everyone is saying and pronouncing everything so differently. I wonder if it's just because everyone has such different accents, or if nobody knows how to pronounce anyone's names. Now I don't feel so bad that I keep adding sounds to their names.
Why are we so touchy? I feel like our legs are always interlocked.
Loving this me in a pool.
It has been so nice to get to know you like this way. Like it's taught me so much about what I want in a man.
It would have been so hard, like when we met each other and the attraction not be there, but I think you're a knockout.
Honestly, out of not even just the girls in the pods, out of anyone, I'm just glad it was your family. I want them to see like what's making me so happy right now.
Oh, you're going to have so much fun explaining to my dad what this is.
It's so cute because they're one of the only couples who's always talking about each other's families, and they're always talking about just how enmeshed is probably the wrong word, right? That's a negative word. How like important and a priority their family is. So that's kind of nice because they're so similar in that regard. Everyone else keeps talking about themselves, which is fine and good, and I'm here for it. It's just another sign that they're more compatible because they are so focused on their family. And both are fine. It's fine if you're a very big family person, or it's fine if you're more about like you as a couple. It's fine either way, but it's another sign that they're compatible.
I just feel like I'm falling more and more in love with Butter every second that I'm with her. Obviously, this is the first full day with her, and it just gets better and better.
I hope he's really genuinely just like, he seems in love.
I feel alright, you know. I enjoyed the night with you, for sure.
We enjoyed each other's company.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, they just did a montage of all the couples getting ready for bed. Maybe getting intimate, maybe not getting intimate. They implied certain people maybe got more intimate than others. At this point, I'm the least curious about that, if I'm going to be honest. I'm more curious about the whole compatibility overall. But there's like something here. I don't know what it means, but there you go.
I think it's fair to say me and Katisha are definitely feeling a lot closer. We didn't sleep much. Now that we're here, it's hard to remember.
It is hard, yeah.
That last day was a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't tell you, my bags were packed that morning. I just thought, today will be just a chance to say goodbye. Damala was very confident about getting engaged with you. I feel like that whole triangle was just messy.
I didn't really see it as a triangle.
She said she didn't really see it as a triangle. That's so interesting. What would she call it?
Here we are.
Here we are. I've got you now, so it's all right. It's all good.
Ooh, I think we're moving into the couples meeting each other, which is always my favorite.
Carl, nice to meet you. How you doing? Yeah, pleasure. But that would have been my type before this process. So to do Soroba, who's not my type, it is a little bit strange. But I think it's maybe worse for her than it is for me. I don't feel any awkwardness. And
he's saying Barda would have been his type outside the pods. I could see that, but I think she's just so well suited for Jed. He's not feeling any awkwardness, but he says that Soroba might be feeling some awkwardness. I hope, I mean, I can't fault her, right? Like that's stuff she has to deconstruct, but I also don't really believe in like types, though I do have a type. I don't have a real type. I have a energetic type. I don't really have a physical type in my relationships, I've noticed. So I don't really believe in the concept of a type. I just think we are conditioned through society to think we have a strict type. And I think when you start to fall in love with a person for their consciousness, like your type kind of goes out the window. And I kind of more adhere to that belief, though I do find myself attracted to a energetic type of person, like a general typical type of person. At the end of the day, like I don't think anyone I've ever dated looked the same. Like I couldn't say that I've only dated blondes, right? Like I couldn't even say that. So it's like the fact that he's like blondes are my type. I couldn't even think about dating somebody because they're blonde. Like that doesn't even hit my brain to even think to do that.
I just don't want her to think like there is anything else there.
Okay, he said he also said that he doesn't want her to think that there's anything with anyone else, that he is focused on her.
Hello, Megan. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Yeah, and you too.
This is great. This is great. Everyone together.
I love how you two look at each other. We're just standing here smiling.
We don't mind. We don't mind.
It's pretty cute.
And extracurricular activities.
We're not getting into that, Cal. We're not getting into that.
Okay, all the boys have basically not kissed and told, but they've insinuated.
I'm a
So
gent.
was there a little bit of spooning?
There were loads of cuddling. Yeah. We're talking about you.
I feel like I slipped the L word out, like just like that the other day, right? In person, because it happened in the pods, and yeah, and it was just so us. And I didn't even mean to. I don't know. It just felt so natural.
They're talking about how saying the L word, love, is feeling so natural. That's nice.
I know.
Oh my God.
And he said the same, and
He was like, I'm crazy about you. I really love you. And I was like,
I love you too. Like, have you said anything to Tisha?
I feel like it's very important to me. Like, and I feel like it's very easy to be swept up in an experiment, swept up in. I'm not like devaluing.
So the girls are excited that they said I love you, Barda and Jed, and Ashley and Billy. But Katisha and Javin, see, I told you, I remembered, they haven't said it. And she's basically explaining not to diminish their I love yous, but she doesn't want to get swept up and say I love you just because she's on the experiment, which is good, right?
And what you said at all, like,
No.
I want to be very intentional with my words. Like, I don't want to just say it just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I can't tell if she's doubting herself for the relationship. So she's doing it once again, right? So she told Damala she didn't want to choose him because she wants to go with her gut, and her gut was Javin. But also, they're still in the position where the man she said yes to marry isn't even a man she can say I love you to. So there's still like a disconnect happening, which is causing a sort of concern on the girls' faces. But at the same time, it happens with the show. It's definitely not the first time where people are paired up and they're not quite sure they're ready to make the commitment. So it's not the worst thing ever. I mean, it is, it's an experiment.
I mean, I'm not in their shoes. I'm not here to.
Yeah.
For other couples here, I think there's maybe a bit more learning to do and maybe a bit more exploration. They're not there yet, but they will be there.
Yeah.
Ashley's like concerned with it, but it is what it is. They're adults, they can handle it. It is what it is.
that next step will just come maybe a little bit later.
Yeah. Do you find it easy to like tell Cal, like, you're fit?
Ashley seems like kind of the mom of the group, where she's like, "Are you okay? Can you say stuff to your partner? Like, like, are you comfortable?" Like, she seems like she's asking a lot of questions, but I think she has good intentions. She doesn't seem malicious.
Like,
Do you know what it is? His love language is like words of affirmation. He wants that.
And does he pay confidence to you?
He does, yeah. Which is really lovely. Honestly, my type's always been Cal. Yeah. I'm just so different to what his type is. Maybe being a girl, I overthink a bit. So
Nope, that's internalized misogyny and sexism. Being a girl, you're not overthinking. You're concerned about the conditioning that you have had to be subjected to, and that all women have been subjected to, and especially brown girls, in a world that is so colorist and racist. And it is not your gender that is making you overthink things. It is literally the conditions in which you were raised.
I'm such a guarded person, so guarded to the point like I've had comments before. It's like, I don't know where I stand with you, or I don't know where your head's at. Then I bring things up and I feel like you almost self-sabotage.
Be open, be transparent, be vulnerable, let that guard down, tell him about your struggles. You've been open from the get-go, so don't close off now, Sarova.
I'm not getting any malicious vibes from Cal right now. The issue I have is the Javin comment about like girls, they don't know what they want, and how much that's internalized in the other men. thinking, oh, you're such a girl, you're overthinking, I like you, without understanding and having a conversation about deconstructing how colorism and racism plays a role in our dating lives. That's really the conversation I'd love to see, but I don't think any of the people here are progressive enough to have that conversation. I don't think anyone here is philosophically progressive enough to sit down and say, hey, I'm having insecurities based off of the way that I've been raised, and I need to have this conversation with you in a way that is comforting and analytical at the same time. So emotional and analytical. And sometimes when our significant others are having a moment of insecurity, we don't know how to be there for them, and they don't even know how to convey how we need to be there for them. And this is why, it takes a great amount of compatibility and communication to sit down and talk through these things, because they're important. We're going to be deconstructing for the rest of our lives. And whether we like it or not, especially if you're in a heterosexual relationship, there are dynamics at play here, especially from their cultural backgrounds, that is going to allow Sarover to doubt herself because she's, quote, a woman, right? So this is why I say in my marriage, there is no gender in my marriage. So, when she said, oh, maybe I'm just being a girl and overthinking these things, this is where in my marriage, if I was having an insecurity about something like this, it would be more or less like, do you feel like you're being impacted by the world around you to feel like I'm not the standard of beauty that you expect to be with? And do you feel insecure about that? Like the question itself would be more or less philosophical and political than it would even be personal, because this is a conversation about values and ideals and outlook.
Feeling a little bit of that insecurity at the moment, but I know Cal and I know the way he looks at me.
I mean, she is beautiful, and that's not going to be reassuring enough, because it's not always about your beauty. It's not really about your beauty. It's about deconstructing your relationship to beauty. Like ultimately, even if Cal was super committed and super reassuring, it's Sarover who needs to deconstruct her relationship to her insecurity in relation to beauty, because ultimately this is our personal struggle, not because it's her fault or it's not his responsibility, but because it's her relationship with her own body and what she looks like. And at the end of the day, stuff like that is just so personal. Other people can't truly reassure us if we still don't believe it about ourselves. And so I'd love to see Sarover really believe she's beautiful and worthy regardless. And our bodies, they'll eventually be old and wrinkly and less beautiful, but still beautiful in their own right. So once she deconstructs her need to even be beautiful or have competition with these other girls, it's really not even about these girls, right? It's about something a little bit bigger. It's about the conditioning we experience when it comes to racism, which is a very different type of insecurity, though incredibly valid and very important. It's, you can have two white girls that are very insecure about how they look, and two white girls that are even have their guy, looking at, but then when you bring race into it and colorism, it's just a whole other layer. It's just a whole other thing that is beyond even the basic superficial of like, am I good enough? Now there's another layer and another layer and another layer. So it's a lot to deconstruct. So philosophically, something Sarover has to discover within herself. How important is this vessel? Okay. And then on top of that, does my partner also see the world that way? And do we both value the vessel similarly? Cal is a very in shape person. He's got lots of muscles. He's very aesthetically pleasing. He's really well groomed. They care a lot about aesthetics. The complaint of Love is Blind only having basically pretty people on the show is playing into this narrative, right? Am I pretty enough? Are you sad you chose me? Love is blind, but is it blind? This is the whole experiment, right?
I hope it's more in my head and it's a me problem that I need to work on.
I don't like her to phrase it though. It's in her head. It's not in your head. It's real. Colorism, racism's real. He just said his type is white and blonde. Does he know why? Cal, why are you interested in white and blonde women? What is it about them that you're attracted to? Why is this your type? Right? Like, this isn't just a her thing. He also needs to deconstruct his attraction.
Power within my heart.
Seeing Katisha and Javin together is not fully sank in yet. I do feel bad for Damala, and it was a big shock to me when he came back and said that she'd gone for Jav. I just want to know her side of things, because the jury's still out on whether Katisha's made the right choice or not.
Tamar thought it was him, Javin thought it wasn't him.
Yeah, I didn't take it lightly at all.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't just
That's not an easy thing to do, is it?
No, I wasn't. No, fuck him. That wasn't what it was like at all, and it was really tough.
But obviously he's a strong guy and all that. He'll obviously be fine.
But it wasn't anything against them,
dust
though.
himself off kind of thing.
Yeah, my connection with Javin was stronger, just what it came down to.
Okay, so Cal came up to Katisha and asked her for a conversation. They talked about Damala, and I do think it's a little inappropriate that he's getting in between of everything, because genuinely he wasn't involved. And I know he wants to like protect his boy, but I do think he's being inappropriate. I do think this is a bit toxic masculinity for me. So I don't think it's good. I think he's trying to see if Katisha is like a malicious kind of person, but she's obviously just an insecure person who doubted herself. Like, she's not maliciously betraying Damala. She's just like too insecure to really know what's good for her, which is different. So I think in many ways, that's a little messy for me, this whole situation. What do you guys think? Inappropriate, appropriate for Kel to talk to her? I didn't like it, but you know, maybe for his own sake of, maybe for his own curiosity, he just really needed to ask her to kind of put it to rest. But yeah, I think he's probably thinking she's some like gold digger or something negative, like something like Jezebel, you know what I mean? Which for me is, you know, very toxic masculinity. But at the same time, Javin did say, you know, these women, they never know what they want, which is also sexist and gross. So it's like, what am I doing here? Either way, it's obvious that Katisha just like, I don't know that she knows what she really wants in life, but she said again, it was the right decision, and she's glad she chose Javin. So it is what it is. With that said, that's all for today. I'm glad we got this far. I'm interested to see how it will go. We're on episode 4, and they're already out of the pods. So the next like 6 or so episodes will basically be them meeting family, them getting married, and then the 11th episode is the reunion. I've made my predictions for which couples will say yes and no at the altar. I will say by the end of this episode, I am more convinced that Cal and Starover might not get married at the altar, but we'll see. And again, this will, I think, mostly connect to his relationship around deconstructing his attraction to white ladies, because I think that should be deconstructed. All right. With that said, thank you for watching, subscribing, liking, leaving a comment, and I will see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.